Boruto podcast. This is episode 6, Shibai. Otsutsuki Shibai, the Otsutsuki god. He was only mentioned in chapter 75 by Amado, and he seems to be like a really important character because he has given the abilities, or Amado has extracted the abilities that he had and gave them to Eida and Daemon. And Shibai is a very important character that was only mentioned slightly. So if we look at chapter 75, Naruto brings up, he says, Amado, what the heck, or how the heck did you develop so many unbelievable abilities? And Amado's like, develop couldn't be accurate. I am a mere human, not a god. The crafting abilities is a feat permitted to only to gods. What I did is simply transplant things that already existed. And he said, yeah, their abilities were brought about by a god, someone who actually evolved into a godlike being. And then he says, Otsutsuki Shibai. So when he says evolved into a godlike being, aren't Otsutsukis already gods? Don't you think that would be hinting that maybe Shibai was like a normal person, just like Boruto, and has evolved into an Otsutsuki?
No, because I mean, before, right, when he was explaining those Suskis, he was saying that they were essentially just parasitic aliens, that
Yes.
would do so. So they're probably just an alien race, and then they can evolve past that into a godlike being um, by the process of what he says annoying gardening. but, but yeah, um, nah, the I think God, right? The word God is used somewhat loosely in Naruto and Boruto. Um, anybody who's just overwhelmingly strong, they call gods, or somebody who uh, has done things that other people cannot do are called gods. But I think Shibai, oh well, whatever the godlike being, because it could be a different name, right? We still don't know. Would the godlike being even call themselves Shibai or say they're, you know, keep their own
Well,
name if part of evolving is leaving behind one's own body, kind of like leaving their own identity away? Now they're something else. Would they even call themselves Shibai anymore? We don't
so
know.
also another thing that his name is Shibai. Um, his name means like a theater play, drama, but it also means deceiving, something along the lines of that. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what could that mean, right? Because if it's deceiving, who's deceiving? Shibai? Shibai isn't deceiving because we know at least the story that Amado told us has to be true because Momoshiki confirmed it. So if Shibai isn't deceiving, they gotta be Amado. What is he deceiving? Well, as we know, Amado likes to talk without telling you everything. And so even though he says, he transplanted it, maybe that isn't what happened. Because think about it, right? Ada can only go back to the moment she was born. So she says. But how could you transplant? I mean, outside of just literally in the womb, how could you transplant it over to somebody not born yet? Right? Unless she was cultivated exactly like Mitsuki, where he's from the second he's born, he's already a specimen, you know? And then Damon, same thing. If Damon was transplanted, when? If the same time as Ada, I mean, why, would he allow it? Why would Jigen, who wanted them disposed of, allow them could be from the second they're born have those powers. I don't know. So yeah,
Theo, what do you think about his name?
deceiving.
Shibai's name, like you said, it's really a peculiar name. It's play, and play can mean a lot of things. I'm really not sure. I'm not sure if Amado is trying to deceive someone or if that really is Shibai's name. It could be, but it it could be an allegory, or it could be a fake name for all we know. A lot of people are saying that Shibai is that's not his name entirely. Could be a totally different one. I don't know what you guys think about that.
So maybe it was a title he gave himself to deceive people of who he really is or was, because he evolved. He evolved into Shibai. Maybe he was something else. And I also think that they named him Shibai because when they give his backstory, because we're going to have to get his backstory eventually, how his life went and stuff, I hope. I feel like that's going to be the play. That's going to be the theater. That's the play, the story. Kind of like the Indra Ashura Hagurama at the end of Shippuden.
Yeah.
I think for now it seems like it's the truth, but according to Momoshiki, because Momoshiki is a good source, I would say the only problem is Momoshiki's deceptive nature too. Momoshiki at the time when he confirmed it, we got to remember he wasn't in the best terms with Boruto.
Yes.
Right. So he like Momoshiki's his intent was to kind of spook Boruto at the time, but I would say yeah, it's real. Momoshiki's a good source, but again, just like Amado and Ishiki, I would say Momoshiki doesn't want to tell the whole truth yet.
You know what I've thought of
Right.
just now? What if the name Shibai, and it meaning play, theater, drama, and also meaning possibly deceive, right? What if it's just talking about omnipotence, right? Because what does omnipotence do? It's deceiving people. And we know that was one of his abilities. So I'm guessing, right, just like Momo and Ishiki having their names and their names being tied to the people that they're based off of and the abilities that they're based off of, then it's probably the same as that. Shibai's name is Shibai because he had omnipotence. And now, right, the theater play drama part, that could probably just be talking about what Momoshiki said, where he said, have you never thought uh, that maybe a god had already previously, tampered with people's memories? It's quite possible, what he says.
Yeah.
So yeah, what if Shibai is just based off of, or the name is just based off of because of him having omnipotence?
Well, I'm pretty sure Amado gave Ida omnipotence from Shibai's remains, right? So it's almost like Shibai was just doing that like crazy or nonstop, like unbelievable power. Hey, what's up, Archer? Welcome. All right, so Shibai is on another dimension. He literally ascended. Like he evolved so much and devoured so many planets with a chakra fruit and gained all that genetic code and all that. He literally evolved and was able to transcend onto another dimension, which is absolutely crazy.
Plane of existence, probably, most likely, because they just say he left this dimension. Where he went, maybe a different dimension, or with how it's looking like a completely different plane of existence, one that doesn't need a body, which is different from a dimension, right? Dimension is still within space and time, or space time, But another plane, those go out the window, literally.
You think Boruto will be able to transcend like Shibai?
Oh yeah, definitely. I want him to. Not only do I want him to, but it would just be like, it would be so cool. Boruto's so cool. If he ascended, he's done something almost nobody's ever done. With that, what does that mean, right? Now that he's ascended, if he ascends, what can he do with
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
Or who is gonna be there when he ascends? Is Shibai gonna be there?
We don't know. But how would he ascend? How would he gain that power? Would he
devouring planets?
Well, that could be one way. That's a proven way. It's a proven way to do it. So
Otsutsuki.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, maybe it's not only Shibai. Maybe there's many beings that have transcended and are in that realm.
There's one thing I kind of questioned about Shibai. That's his age. So I think what's always been interesting about like Shibai is like the approximate timeline of when he ascended or what occurred or when it occurred. I kind of had a couple theories about when it all happened. I think an interesting source would be I believe the Sasuke novel. You guys remember the one where he
Star
was
Pupil?
in
The Sasuke Star Pupil or the Sasuke Resident?
Red Citizen. It was
in the anime.
Yeah, right. It was the one. Yep, Sasuke Red Citizen, and it was when he was investigating about the chickens, raptors, dinosaurs of all things, and I thought that was a little weird because according to Sakura, these were draconic beasts that died out millions of years ago by some unknown cause, and that cause was some sort of meteor impact. I kind of had in my mind that if hypothetically, let's say that was Shibai, that would put him in several million years ago. That if he was the one responsible for that.
Well, okay, if we look at the one of the last panels and the most seen panel of Shibai, where he's all like shadowed out and it says led to godhood, right above it says he was able to transcend by repeatedly undergoing karmatic resurrection. Shibai cheated death, devoured many fruit over several millennia, and eventually to the cumulative evolution. So several millennia is a few thousand years.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few thousand years. Yeah. So that kind of gives us like a time frame.
Sure.
And who's to say he's on Earth, right?
No, I don't think he's. I mean, okay. One of the topics I was going to bring up: how did Amado even get his remains? That is like, because he says it. He says his remains still exist, but he doesn't exist.
It would have to be somewhere Amado or people associated with Amado can access.
Shiki.
And right, we don't know if whenever Inosuke dies, do they decompose? They should.
I was going to say that again, it's another franchise altogether, but when a certain, I would say, villain or being was sealed away, like he was so powerful, his body doesn't decompose like the way normal people decompose. Like they're so powerful, they kind of mummify. I can picture Shibai being a mummy, his leftover body being some. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Take Hashirama for example. He's dead, but yet they still harvest his cells. His cells are still working. Like, especially
we don't know what exactly he harvested, right? It had to have been his genetic data because that's something that we know Amado for sure does do whenever he's cloning. He clones using genetic data, so again, how did he even get Jiraiya? Because Jiraiya is
I
at the
think
bottom of the ocean.
I think like again, it's like the question of Shibai's corpse, according to Amado, is again the age of Shibai's corpse, because if the corpse is ancient by nature, then hypothetically, if it was on Earth, it should be very, very, very deep underground, underneath the Earth. I mean, that's kind of like proposing that Amado is some archaeologist at heart, I guess, which would be funny. But like, it would, yeah, it would be weird. It would.
Well,
I mean,
okay. So
Mhm.
Momoshiki knows of Shibai. So it seems like the Otsutsuki are aware of him. It's almost like maybe they had like a shrine of where his body would lay to rest or something. But I don't think it's the Earth. I think with Ishiki's help, with the karma, they were able to go to different dimensions and go to where his body was, and Amado was able to take it. Maybe I don't know if he did it. Would Ishiki even allow this? You know, like
Well, he allowed it to some extent, right? Before the cyborgs were made. I mean,
I
before
guess
he
it's
had the
two.
cyborgs disposed of.
Yeah, no, I guess it's like two train of thoughts. Either like Amado accidentally or somehow like found information on Shibai's body somewhere on Earth, or it was a Shiki who gave Amado Shibai's corpse from another dimension.
You know what it could be? I just thought about it.
Mhm.
It would make sense that Ishiki would tell Amado about it because um, Ishiki needs another person. So what if that is one of the plans he had before, thinking, "Oh, I'm just gonna sacrifice Jigen's body and resurrecting Kawaki." That might have been their first run at it of like, getting the chaga fruit. It could have been that
Right.
he was like, "Oh, well, I know of an Otsutsuki that we could use. Let's try to use it." But he's dead, so let's try to resurrect him. Let's try to revive. And then he got Amado to do it because he saw Amado try do cloning on Akabi, and that's probably what the first deal was. I'm gonna do we're gonna use Shibai's body, but we're gonna have to revive him, and then maybe it fails, right? And
Mm.
now he uses the plan of, "Oh, I'm gonna make Kawaki," and that's how it changes. I don't know. That's only one way that Ishiki would allow it, right? If it was part of his plan to uh, get a fruit, be like, "Oh, I got this body. We could use the body," um, but it would be a bad body because it's a dead corpse, right? Just like how he was talking about Jigen, that Jigen will be a bad body because it's a defective vessel. So that could be
by
one
the
way. But I
way,
was, mhm.
how did so Eida and Daemon, their powers were taken from Shibai's body and they were given to them. First of all, how would Amado even know to pick those powers out to give it to them? How would he even have a clue? And then the other thing is, Ada has a Senrigan. Does that mean that Shibai had a Senrigan? Because it didn't depict that he had one.
I think whatever Amado did, I personally believe that he was just messing around. Like a typical scientist, he was like, what would happen if I put these cells in a human? And maybe it was a trial and run sort of thing. And somehow, like, he succeeded. Maybe Ada and Damon are like the ones that survived the experiment.
Maybe,
That's
yeah.
possible. Yeah, that's me. I'm not saying that's like what actually happened, but
Thing is he
um,
said, pretty sure in the chapter, he said all of this stuff already existed and it was created by gods.
mhm.
It already existed, you know. He didn't really. It
Well,
seems like he didn't really have to do much other than transplanting.
well, there's some weird stuff happening with, like, I would say Shibai's power in general. because like omnipotence, according to Amado, when I read the manga, Aida's is very, very like weak compared to Shibai's version. Apparently, like whatever
She's
she
not
did,
a full Otsutsuki.
That's
yeah, she's not a
depending on
full
what we think
Otsutsuki.
that means, right? It could mean
Well,
two things. Either
mhm.
Ada cannot control it, as in, right? Because that's what they were saying. She can't control it because she's not an Otsutsuki. And it could be either that she can't do it on command, right, at her will, or the refinement of what she actually does when she uses it is not that good. So that's the two trains of thought that we could go with for how and what they meant by she can't control it. Either it's a weaker version of it, which is crazy because it's super strong already, but, or, I mean, the other is that she just can't do it on command, which is probably the more likely one, the one that looks like to be the case, because omnipotence is still very strong, even though
You know,
more people are getting out of it.
do you think Boruto would be able to get the powers that Damon and Ada have? Because technically it's Otsutsuki powers, shinjutsu.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't outside of uh, the karma explanation, right? Whenever they were saying that karma, whenever you have it on two different people, only one can ever actually come out, like develop completely, because they don't want multiple personalities of the same person. And so if that was a strict karma rule, then there's probably measures already in place for them to never have the same type of powers as another Otsutsuki, to make them unique, to not have, overlap. Because, right, that would also help how they have to go in pairs. Because if I could do, right, I'm an Otsutsuki and I could do what you can do, you're another Otsutsuki, why would I need you? Right? Why would I need you outside of the sacrifice? And it seems to me, maybe I'm reading it like weird, right? But it seems to me that Shibai might have been the sacrifice. Think about it, right? When they were explaining him about him evolving, they were saying that he kept undergoing karmic, the process of karma. And as we know, you have to die. Well, not you have to die, but you could put a karma because you want to come back, right? And the only time we've seen people put a karma and because they want to come back after death is because either they're killed or they are sacrificed, and that's one of the that's one of the things to prepare before actually letting yourself be eaten by a tentails. So what if that's the case? What if it was that he was somehow the sacrifice? And if that's the case, who was the one who ate the fruit from him? But right, it also says that he was eating fruit, right? So it seems to me that he did both of the roles, right? The sacrifice to for the fruit to be made, and then the harvester, the one that eats the fruit. And,
So he ate himself.
well, we don't know, right? Because that's what Ishiki tried to do, and Ishiki was saying that how it would turn into a bad fruit. So unless he was doing multiple times, which he clearly did, right? It took him millennia uh, to evolve into whatever he is now. But unless he was doing and willing to get a bad fruit, I don't see why he would, right? If you could have the choice of eating 5-star meals and McDonald's, why would you eat McDonald's? But
So he was doing both, though, right? He was
exactly,
sacrificing himself and eating fruits, and he would just resurrect through a karma.
And how we know, right, that they have to, well, not have to, but they seem to be going in pairs. So if they're going in pairs, what if they switch out roles? What if the one who eats it this time sacrifices next time? Because I was thinking, right, with Kinshiki, I think in the movie and in the manga, and I think in the anime, I don't know, but definitely in the movie, Kinshiki said for him, right, to Kenshiki's power to go to Momoshiki and be given to him, just like how his guardian did the same for him. So it seems like, right, I let you eat me because somebody already let themselves somebody already let me eat them. So maybe it's a thing where they switch, right? Now that would make more sense as to why Kaguya did what she did by betraying him. Because if they were to switch out roles, right? You have a pear. This time you eat the fruit, next time I'll eat the fruit. This time you sacrifice, next time you sacrifice. Maybe, right? And we know that she got attached to the people on Earth. Maybe she did it because of that. She didn't want to lose this Earth. So if I'm supposed to be sacrificed, I'm not gonna allow it. And then she backstabbed them, and then we see what happens later. So yeah, I was thinking, what if they actually just flip flop the roles? That means somebody else was also with Shibai, unless Shibai was by himself. But if you're by yourself, again, how do you do it? How do you do it by yourself? Ishiki had that problem for a long time until he found Kawaki. Yeah, Jigen.
You mean do you mean it's hard doing it by yourself because of finding a vessel?
Exactly. It's
I mean,
all dependent upon what exactly do you need to be a vessel.
the thing with that is that like Ishiki and Momoshiki are two like Ishiki spent how many decades or centuries trying to find Kawaki, but Momoshiki, he just saw some little kid and was like, yeah, he's my vessel. It was like,
well, in the anime, right? In the anime version, well, not even version, because it was only in the anime. When they were showing Kawaki's backstory, they had Delta actually pick up a blood sample on Kawaki in the episode, right? I think he was bleeding for some reason, and they picked up a blood sample from him, and then that's probably how you determine it, or that's probably how at least Ishiki determined it, that Kawaki is a good one, or at least has some type of genome or something in that blood is a marker that, oh, this might be hit, this might be a good one.
compatible.
And then if that's the case, right, yeah, if that's the case, now he has all them kids in the little IV bags, and he puts karmas on them, but only a couple of them survive. So it can't just be genetic, because if it was just genetic, all them kids could have had one, right? If we're thinking that the blood sample process is actually part of it, because again, right, that's what Momoshiki said in the manga, in the anime. He was talking about Boruto's blood. In the anime, he said the blood of Otsutsuki, and then in the manga, he says the blood of the Hyuga, right? So Byakugan. And yeah, I don't know, because it seems to be something to do with blood, but then if it's blood, some of the people that we know are at least somewhat more compatible than Boruto and Kawaki because of their blood connection to whatever it is, should be available, or not available, but compatible.
I mean,
Or they weren't.
wouldn't this imply that Kawaki has some special genetics that allow him to go in sync with the Ishiki? But that's the thing. Like,
we've never seen his mother. Think about it. We've never
that is
seen his
true.
mother. Who is his
Well,
mother?
I always questioned his Kawaki's lineage, because they've clearly let that they've clearly sort of hidden that little detail, like what's Kawaki's ancestry, because clearly Boruto has Otsutsuki ties. He has close Otsutsuki ties, but we know nothing about Kawaki.
What do you think he does?
I think he has to.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it seems to be Otsutsuki ties, according to Momoshiki, then I think he has to. If not, there's gonna have to be a better reason why he's the exception.
Wait, I mean,
not him.
maybe we're kind of underestimating just the nature of karma, because if you think about it, when Otsutsukis go to different planets, of course, there are other living creatures that inhabit these planets, right? But they have no ties to the Otsutsuki, genetically speaking. I mean, it could be the case that Kawaki is legitimately a nobody, and he happened to be very compatible with the Ishiki, if that makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
I think if they say Shibai has been for millennials doing the karmatic resurrection, and we've seen it with Ashiki doing it to Jigen, like they do it on many different vessels, but it seems like it's not hard to find a perfect vessel for yourself. It doesn't seem like it's that hard, because if Shibai has been doing it for millennials, and other Otsutskis do it all the time, you know.
Well,
I
again,
think
right?
yeah, I heard that. Like it was an idea about that. Well, there was some sort of hypothesis somebody else talked about. Some guy said that Ishiki was too strong for his own good. That karma, that any Otsutsuki can do a karma if they're strong enough, right? But if the Otsutsuki is too powerful, the less likely they are to find a suitable vessel.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good idea, but not sure.
Yeah, like Jigen, right? When Jigen couldn't handle his power, Boruto seems to be able to handle his power. That's why he went into what we call true essence. He could actually tap into the full power of Momoshiki and get the experience and everything. So I don't know. It just seems like whatever the vessel process is, right? Selection process is gonna really weed out all these possibilities for how exactly did Shibai do it? Because I don't think there's other, at least as intelligent life forms as the ones on Earth. At least there shouldn't be. There's the people on the moon, right? The Toneris clan, their side of the clan. Those people are there, but that's about it from what we know.
Well, I was going to say that it was in the novel, and it was for the movie novel. You know, a lot of things get retconned, but according to the novel, there was the time space Momoshiki was in. He was over a fallen civilization, and the civilization had a myriad of corpses, which is basically alien corpses in the context here. But so I mean, the novel, from what I've known, they mention other intelligent races, but I don't know like what they. I mean, we don't know what they look like. I think whether they're humanoid or like maybe they're like bugs, but I thought that was kind of interesting. There might be other intelligent races out there, but I don't know. It seems to me like the Naruto universe is so spread out. Even if there are other aliens out there, they have no form of communication. Maybe almost like us. Yeah.
Have y'all thought about a different energy source being the reason why for everything? Right? So
yes.
like we know that omnipotence, the shinjutsu of shinjutsu, doesn't work on other Otsutskis, right? It doesn't work on the caster and other Otsutskis, and for some reason Sarada and Sumire. But why would that be? Right? Why would it not work on Otsutskis? Well, why does it not work on Sarada and Sumire, right? It's again, we're stuck in a place where we know enough, but not enough. Because that's probably gonna be like automatic. That's probably end of series stuff, right?
I mean, I don't know,
I
because
believe.
Eida was the one that did the omnipotence, and obviously she's not for Otsutsuki, so let's say, for example, Shibai was the omnipotence. I mean, how do you not know that if Shibai did omnipotence, it wouldn't affect other Otsutsuki? Like maybe
Momoshiki said it didn't, right? Momoshiki said
Who knows?
it doesn't
It
affect
might
Otsutsuki.
That might be Shibai messing with his memories. Never know.
That could be a case, right? It's like the what's his name? It's a DC comic book character, where it's like if you lose sight of him, he doesn't exist anymore. It might be something like that. But
Yeah.
then again, right? Omnipotence, they explained it, or at least Momoshiki explained it. It could be, unreliable right there, even though he's the most reliable that we have right now. But Momoshiki explained it as consciousness is linked through chakra, right? And so if a god wanted to, they could meddle with it, they could change it, right? They can mess with it. So it seems to target only chakra, but why would it only target chakra? Right? Like, why would it, or not why would it target chakra, but like, why point out that it's chakra that it's targeting? Because if it was chakra that it was targeting, Boruto has chakra. Sarada got chakra. Some of the people that aren't affected have chakra. So again, right? It's just, is it because she can't control it in the sense that she can't refine who exactly and what exactly to do, or she just can't do it at will? You know.
I think omnipotence is kind of. I always said it was weird from the start because it might be a little bit of a hot take, but I always associate it with, and it's very similar to creation of all things when you think about it. I thought that was the biggest, the most peculiar thing about like omnipotence because I'm reading the panel here and I can show it to you guys. In fact, let me show it on discussion. So here, Momoshiki says omnipotence, the ultimate power that only an omniscient, omnipotent God can control. But what's funny enough, he said this too. He said, it said that God used it in the process of creating the world, a programming language for creation. So, and the absolute will that materializes everything. That is, like, I'm not gonna lie, that's basically creation of all things.
Isn't that the fan translation?
Is it? Is it? This is the only translation I could get. Is there another one?
Let me pull it up. Hold on.
Sure.
Because I definitely don't remember him saying divine technique, divine technique. It's definitely shinjutsu of shinjutsu. So let me see.
No, you're right. Because like I'm curious about the other translation because I've been trying to find it for a minute.
Yeah. What is that? 79 or 70? Oh, here we go. Never mind. I got it. So this is what he says, right? In Momoshiki, he says omnipotence in the one of the bubbles. An ultimate power only an all-knowing, almighty God can wield. The shinjutsu of shinjutsu. A programming language that gods were said to have used to create worlds. The will to make anything real. That is what omnipotence is.
Well,
and that's what he says it is. I don't know.
Well, I think that solves the case, I guess. I always said that there was something deeper going on between, and it sounds kind of weird. There's a parallel between Shibai and Hagoromo Otsutsuki. I think even there was one YouTuber who did say there was a parallel between the two. You probably know him. He's big on YouTube. Swagkage, I think it was Swagkage, if I remember. Glasses guy. Yeah. He makes all sorts of quirky videos, but basically, even he mentioned that there was something kind of odd because why is omnipotence so similar to creation of all things? Because what Momoshiki is saying is almost the same thing. Basically, put thought, will, the thought and will to materialize creation. You know, the basically it's reality warping which also tells me that whatever Eida did, it's nothing compared to what a god like Shibai can do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, again, right? It just like, why would he say Otsutskis are excluded though? Right? Like,
there
why are
might,
they
yeah,
excluded?
maybe
Like, right
there's
here,
like some.
let me look at it, right? So he says, by the way, after explaining omnipotence and what happened in Boruto's case, by the way, omnipotence does not affect the Otsutsuki Fide like you and Kawaki, nor its caster Eida. Incidentally, that Uchiha girl somehow seems to be unaffected as well, though it's usually the immune who suffer the most from an omnipotence. Now, right? He says affect the Otsutsuki Fide like you and Kawaki. Why would he say like you and Kawaki? I mean, why would he say Otsutsuki Fide? Is it because they have a karma, or are they talking about they are Otsutskis? Now that I'm thinking about it, it might be that they are. I mean, that they have a karma.
I think it's because they have a karma. Yeah.
Because if they have a karma, they're bringing up, right, just like how Amado explained it whenever he was talking about karma. They're bringing up backup data of somebody else's memories and everything, right? Reality, their whole being. So what if that's the reason? Because there's two different realities being made. The one with the karma, the one that the karma has, which is everything about whoever's Otsutsuki that karma is for. And then the one after, which is the whatever they do with omnipotence.
Well,
So
look,
maybe it's that.
they evolved into Otsutskis, and Amado says it in chapter 75.
Who evolved?
Boruto and Kawaki turned into Otsutskis. They evolved, and it makes sense because Amado said that they evolved. Hold on, where is it?
You know what I was thinking, actually? In the same chapter, chapter 75, right? This might be a possible answer for who exactly isn't immune and why, right? Hope. Literally hope. It sounds dumb, right? Because you could say, oh, well, Naruto definitely has hope. Oh, well, some of these people, they have hope that are affected, right? But he says, Amado, right? He says that Otsutsuki powers contain hope to make what is impossible to us possible. And hope is bolded, right? Why would it be bolded if it's just like nothing, right? If it's just a little statement, no, it means that hope is really important for something. And that
For
something is
Boruto, of course.
exactly.
Yeah.
And now,
so
right?
wait, so hold on. What I was saying about Amado, he said, yeah, their abilities were brought about by a god, someone who actually evolved into a godlike being. There's like evolutions to it.
Yeah, so
So
like
is
he
there?
corrected himself.
Yep.
But okay, they can keep evolving, but it's like, how far can they go with evolving? They should
as far as we know.
They should achieve that. Is that what he achieved?
Yeah.
I suppose he was the maximum. I mean, he turned into a god.
I mean, what else is there left? What else?
I think I was gonna say, like, I think Ishiki and Kaguya are. I know it's gonna lead to like some sort of like controversy, but I think Ishiki and Kaguya represent sort of like the pinnacle of what an Otsutsuki could be before they ascend into a higher plane, right? Because like they're kind of reaching that cap, that physical cap that I think we're proposing here, because it seems to me Ishiki was really, really, really close to his goal. All he needed was maybe one or two more high quality chakra fruits to get what he needed. I mean, Kaguya, she ate a very, very high quality chakra fruit, and she gained immortality. She was regenerating like it was nothing. She was controlling the very planet itself. She can She can move mountains. She can create ice. All that sort of stuff. I mean, it's almost the same things Amado was talking about. Because according to Amado, just screaming, Shibai was starting thunderstorms. I think Kaguya and Ishiki are the physical pinnacle of what an Otsutsuki can be before some sort of ascension.
I don't know. I don't
But
think that's the case. Because if you look, right, the clothes are very important whenever to like Otsutskis, right? They have what seems to be three different types of clothing. They have the normal, normal looking clothing that Momoshiki wears whenever he's inside
Binary.
Boruto. Yeah, Toneri. No symbols, no Sage Tomoes or nothing, right? No Renegon on the shirts. That's the normal one that we see mainly, right? This is before the power-ups for most of them. But then Ishiki, he comes in with the robe and the, colors on it and the design on the back of the shirt or the back of the robe, kilt, whatever. So that's like a step up, possibly in power or in the process or something, right?
it could be rank
we look
as
at,
well.
yeah, maybe rank. Because now that I'm thinking about it, right, Kenshiki and Momoshiki were both the same type of clothing style, right? They had no colors, very minimal design. And then Ishiki and Kaguya both had the designs on it with the Renegon or the Tomoe or some type of design on it. And then Shibai, if you look, he's wearing all black. It's all black.
And
And
ripped
that's
up.
not a color design. I mean, that's not just a thing for the manga, right? Because you see him whenever he's against a white background and a black background, and he's still wearing black. And so maybe, right, that's how we can figure out the stages between, just starting off as an Otsutsuki and what you end up as an Otsutsuki god. Because that would make
Well, I mean, if we
pretty much
look, if we look at the clothes, it seems like Shibai doesn't really care much about it like that, looking good or whatever, because he transcended. He doesn't care about the 3D realm.
Yeah.
And I think that the transcension in the realm that he's in, and maybe others are in too, is a realm of peace and tranquility and like meditation and like really like, the trippy looking stuff, like crazy, but meditation and peaceful. Like
It looks like a wizard.
Like Shibai had everything he could ever want in the universe, right? But he gave all that up because it doesn't matter to him. Even just like his clothing, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was just literally rags.
Well, again, right? I think that is not the case only because of what Amado said. Whenever he was explaining, what happened to Shibai, he said he could have been killed. We don't know what happened. So I don't think, right? Obviously, if he's that powerful, or at least what seems to be that powerful, who the hell could kill him? Well, who have we seen hurt another Otsutsuki? Kaguya, someone of the same level clothing as him, right? Just what seems to be, because it could be nothing, right? It could just be whatever. Because Kaguya did used to have the same type of clothing as Momoshiki before she ate the fruit, but in the manga, they draw her with the design of after eating the fruit, so it's like it's weird, right? But again, right? If they're in pairs, if they come in pairs, the only other person who could have killed him would have been his pair, just like how Kaguya almost killed Ishiki.
Well, I mean, to the question of like colors too. Ishiki and Kaguya are very, very interesting for Otsutsukis because, like, if you look at the colors they wear, these are colors associated with royalty: purple and pristine red. You see that in many monarchs, kings, queens. I thought that was interesting because purple is again a very rare color associated with high royal status, and I think Kaguya is mentioned several times to be like a princess. And
Well,
then
that's only
Ishiki
for the
here,
people on Earth. They
yeah,
call
sure.
her a princess.
Well, I was also saying that Ishiki, I don't know, for me, Ishiki always he felt like some sort of king. He felt like very king like, if
Conducts
to me.
himself like a king, right? Like
Yeah, well, he drinks wine. He eats the best, finest foods. The way he speaks, his mannerisms, to me, that he's very king-like. And Kaguya is sort of almost feels like some sort of royal princess. She's very, very composed, very quiet. Doesn't speak too often because that's how wives would speak back in the day. Like they would only speak when spoken to. Yeah, just to put it out there, but I don't know. I feel, to me, Ishiki and Kaguya feel like a higher tier of Otsutsuki than Momoshiki and Kinshiki.
Yeah. Well, if we look at the mural, right? The mural that we have of the 3 pairs of 2 Otsutskis, we see that Ishiki is a step above everybody else. Nobody else is literally at his level. Then it goes Momoshiki and Kaguya. They seem to be, right, because it's just dependent on paneling in the anime. They seem to be at that level with Kaguya maybe a little bit higher. And then Kinshiki below Momoshiki, below everybody. And then on the right, with the 2 that are destroyed, it seems to be that those 2 were at the level of Kaguya and Momoshiki, and the other one with Kinshiki. So if they were, it would make sense that the royalty, like, hierarchy is in place.
Count Urishiki.
Well, we don't know if it's him, right? We don't know if Urishiki is one of the 2 that are destroyed.
Well, also Hamura lived on the moon, and he built a whole family out there. How did he go to the moon and build a whole family, including Teneri, a whole tribe of Otsutskis?
We don't know, because you can't make yourself, right? We know that you can't do that with you can't reproduce a, what is it called?
I think look, Hamura went to the moon, and he had so much time to spend up there, and eventually, he ended up having a whole clan there. And you have to think, maybe he did go and interact with other Otsutskis. Maybe he did interact with Shibai. Maybe he took out Shibai.
I don't know. Shibai seems ancient. Yeah, no. Yeah,
for thousands of years, millennials, and then how long ago did Hamura go to the moon? Almost 1,000 years, right?
Well, I mean, in the anime, I think it's longer.
Longer? Well, then still, it's like thousands of years ago. He went to the moon. It's like, it kind of adds up. Maybe he interacted with Shibai. Maybe Shibai picked him up, took him along.
I was gonna say, like, have you guys ever played Assassin's Creed? I don't want to go off topic here, but basically, like, the assassins, they all wear white. They have very clean white robes, but the Grand Master wears completely black, and Shibai wears black. I don't know.
Could be. I was thinking, right? If, however that happened with the Moon Clan people, right? Whether he, I don't know, married a moon person, whatever it is, right? They all have to have found out about Shibai some way, right? Because Momoshiki knows about it. Momoshiki wasn't on the moon. Momoshiki wasn't even on Earth. He was somewhere else. But everybody seems to at least know. Well, actually, no. The moon people do not know. The moon people do not know, because we know that because Toneri said if there was if there was a main branch of the Otsutsuki clan, why did they not, contact us, or like, why did they not do anything, right? And or why did they exile us? I don't remember what exactly he said, but he was questioning about another side of the Otsutsuki clan, main and side branch. They, the Moon People, are the side branch. So, and if we look at their type of wardrobe, they are the wardrobe of Momoshiki and Kenshiki. So maybe Momoshiki and Kenshiki aren't even a part of the main clan. Now we could. That might be how it separates and Urashiki too. He's wearing the same type of clothes as Momoshiki.
And Urashiki talked to Toneri, and it was like I'm pretty sure he said something about like he's also from there too, or something. I'm not sure, but
yeah, he was saying about the side clan and main clan or main branch.
I don't think so because they knew Kaguya though. Like they knew Kaguya and Shiki, I think.
Well, again, right? Toneri is after. This is not at the inception of the Moon People part of the Otsutsuki like clan, right? He's afterwards. How long after doesn't matter, but after. Momoshiki and them definitely at least lived as long as them.
Well, I think it all has something to do with Hamura. Either it's something he did or interact with them. There's something. They have to go back on Hamura's story about the moon because that's the other half we never got. We always had Shippuden with Hagoromo and the Earth, but it seems like Boruto is all about the moon.
I mean, we got some of it in the last, but that's about it. You know.
Yeah, but it was Toneri who was talking to Boruto about the Otsutsuki god being with all the Jogons.
Well, he didn't talk to him about it, but yeah,
he came into a dream.
About the Jogon, and whether it's him or part of Shibai, we don't know. Seems to be part of Shibai because of that one panel where he has his hands out and a bunch of eyes are around him, and then not just that, but his head, like where his hair would be, it has a crystal ball looking thing, which is crazy. What if that's the clairvoyant Fenrigon? It would make sense, right? Crystal ball. You could see through the crystal ball. I don't know. But yeah, again, how do these people know of Shibai? How does Momoshiki know of Shibai? Because that's what we're really questioning, right? Why is Momoshiki more reliable than the person who has their body? Because Momoshiki corroborated their story.
It seems like Momoshiki has been around for a while, though, and he has been doing some karmatic resurrection. And he has his experience. He said he knows all shinjutsu. Did he not?
Yeah, he knows of them. Yeah.
He knows of them
can't
all.
do them, but he definitely knows of them.
Yeah. And it's, Sasuke taught Boruto, but there was stuff that Sasuke couldn't do, like the flying Rajan. So it's like, it's almost like Momoshiki could tell Boruto about some shinjutsus and maybe he might unlock them.
Well,
I mean, I always kind of questioned how does Toneri know about the Jogon? I that's I kind of asked that myself, but I think that may imply that I'm not gonna like say it outright, but I think it may imply that Hamura and Hagoromo may know about the Jogon as well. I'm not saying it's like totally like impossible, but I mean it could be a possibility that that the Jogon is
definitely.
Yeah, like more well known among the Otsutsuki clan. I can see. In fact, I can actually picture Hagoromo and Hamura researching more into their Otsutsuki heritage or lineage.
I think the fact that Toneri knows about it, and Tenseigan, and some the fact that they're on the moon, didn't Hamura go there by himself?
Yeah.
I saw a scene where he took a whole bunch of other humans, and they went to the moon.
Okay.
It was in the movie where he took a whole bunch of the native people, and from what I can come to conclude is maybe he just interbred with these people, and boom, you got your new Otsutsuki Moon Clan.
But that's not like a factor in how they got all the Otsutsuki information. It's that or they interacted with other Otsutskis, you know?
I get the feeling that the moon, like Hamura's Moon Clan, they must have done something. I'm not.
They can go in like dimensions, right? So
Well, they clearly had,
or maybe other planets.
Military advancements because they had a war. They had a war in the moon. It was everybody pulls it up whenever they want to connect it to the Senragon and what seems to be Sarada's Mangekyo. They had those type of designs back then whenever they flashbacked about the war on the moon. And then they had the Tenseigan. They had a bunch of different technology that is too advanced. I was just thinking, right? And whenever in chapter 75, Katasuke was questioning, like, damn, how could you transplant it, right? Even with current technology, that just seems impossible. And why would he say current, right? Why would they tell us current technology? Well, if we look at real life, we've seen evidence of previous civilizations way back having farther advanced technology than us, right, at the current moment. So maybe, right, Amado did that. Maybe he did it some way like that. Because again, he tried with current technology whenever, well, not even current, but modern technology, whenever he tried to get Akabi. That didn't work. He could clone her, but everything else didn't work. And now he goes to Jigen, and they seem to be at a different location with the Kara hideout, right, than where he was. Or maybe it's the same and they just brought the technology over. Whatever the case, right? Now he can do all these crazy things like body modifications and all the stuff he did to all the Kara members. So maybe he's using technology not of his own. He's reverse engineering how to do these things that he's seen.
Also, I want to go back to the moon. It seems like all the Otsutsuki clan that was living there, they're all gone except Toneri.
Yeah,
he was like the last one. So they either like went to different planets or were used, or imagine if they were taken out by I don't think so, but Momoshiki and Urashiki and Kinshiki, they could use them as sacrifices. So yeah, they're all gone.
They definitely slaughtered themselves.
I mean, they had a war, right? You could attribute them not being there to war. They were lost in the heat of battle.
But, at the end of the day, they're definitely human. I don't know. I think we kind of discussed about that in a previous episode. It seems to me Otsutsukis in general are almost extinct. I have that feeling. Well, I get that vibe that there's either not a lot or they're actually all gone. I don't know about you guys.
I always feel like there's like, I always feel like there's maybe like some kind of like plan where they all hang out. Well, we saw Kinshiki and Momoshiki hanging out at that hideout that Sasuke went to. But you think there might be some other like places that they hang out together? Because they're supposed to team up together, you know.
So like, I think ever since chapter I think it was 79, right? When Momoshiki explained omnipotence, that changed everything of how I thought about the Otsutsuki clan, because what Momoshiki is implying is perhaps previous alien visits from the Otsutsuki clan. It's possible, or like Otsutsukis in the distant past manipulated memories of whatever was living on Earth. So I'm starting to believe that you know, there are some Otsutsuki technology on Earth, as seen with the time turtle and that one filler, anime episode with Urashiki.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what's another thing I noticed? Right? Man, this could definitely be nothing, right? It's
Right.
dependent upon if they follow through with the rest of what that turtle, the character or that folk tale that the turtle is based off of, if they follow through it entirely or not, right? Because in the folk tale, the rescue the turtle or they save the turtle rewards the guy who rescued him, and then uh they go somewhere else. They go to a dragon palace or a palace of a dragon king or something, and the guy gets sent back to Earth or wherever it is. It seems to be Earth because it's folktale. And then the guy tries to contact the turtle again, but they couldn't ever. Now the difference in the Boruto version, right? Boruto doesn't save the turtle, right? The turtle is just taken out of the uh, ocean, right? The bottom of the sea, I think they said. Um, and then they use it. But then at the end, Boruto's like, "Oh," or no, the turtle's like, "Hey, I got enough chakra to send y'all somewhere else if y'all want." And then Boruto says, like, "Nah, you go wherever you want to go," right? So he's given up the opportunity to meet him again, or to use him again. I mean, not meet him, because you could still meet him. But why would you say that, right? As we know, in the anime, they don't tell you things to just tell you things. There's always something hidden that we don't know how it factors in yet, and it'll come back around, right? Just look at the doctor. The doctor in the Mitsuki arc came back around in the car actuation arc, right? So they always put these little plot points or threads. They leave them open ended, right? They don't cut them, so they could bring it back up again. What if, right? The time that the turtle goes back to either, right? Because there could be two options. Either he goes right back into the sea, or he goes into the future. If he goes back into the sea, that's a time loop paradox, right? If he goes back into if he goes into the future, right, we're gonna see him again. So again, we don't know. Um, it seems to
I'm a
be
big fan
though.
of the turtle.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
a real big
same.
fan.
I like
Yeah.
how they did the little echo audio tune on his voice, because it really sounds like ancient technology or like a hologram AI would talk to you. But no, so
Kind of
while
sad.
they were
Yeah.
doing the
Well,
turtle, right?
it's also something that they incorporated with like Boruto, because Boruto is about like the future and science and tools like that, and that's like an Otsutsuki version of it. So I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, so one of the things that I saw, right, and that I'm just now possibly connecting is when they were inside the turtle, right? Because the turtle opened up, it like undid its shell, and then they ran into it, and now they're in a different area. Seems to be a different dimension. That dimension, right? Hear me, looks to be the possible timeless dimension. Because if you look around, there's cubes, right? Those cubes look a lot like the holographic technology that the Kara members use whenever they're communicating to other people. Now, you could say it's a stylistic, artistic choice for how they depicted that, but I don't know. Is it a coincidence? Even though we know coincidences in Boruto aren't actually coincidences, they're just things that we can't connect yet. So again, right? It would also make sense that the turtle would go to the timeless dimension. If they're able to control time, why not go to a timeless dimension and maneuver, swim your way through time, literally? So I was thinking, what if he actually goes into the timeless dimension, and that might be right How I said he could go into the past or into the future with his other or his leftover energy or chakra, whatever. If he goes into the future, that might be how we see him up again. How he comes up into the story again. That he goes into the future, and in that future, it'll be to do with the timeless dimension that Kawaki has access to. I don't know though.
Well, all the purists might get mad at you.
It doesn't matter. Because again, right? So look, if that is the case, if somehow I'm right that the timeless dimension and the turtle are going to be connected some way, then what's the purpose, right? Why would you have a turtle that could control time to a certain extent, manipulate it to a certain extent, and then also have the threat of a timeless dimension? Maybe something happens. Well, what could possibly be something that could happen in the timeless dimension? Oh, who's there? Naruto. Who wants to eat Naruto? Jura. So this is an absolute crack theory, right? I don't care if I'm wrong, but I would like to get the credit if I'm right, right? That's how it works. Everybody does it.
Yeah.
So crack theory. What if they lose? What if Jura actually eats Naruto? And what if that turtle is the way out? That would be cool. Is the way to undo things. But I don't know.
So I was talking about Jura. I think so. The Shinju, for me, they scream the Flood from Halo. I don't know if you guys played that game, but in Halo you have an enemy called the Flood, and it's an alien parasite that infects the host, and when it consumes its host, it basically absorbs all of its genetic information and memory information. Um, so the flood basically inherits whatever the host had, which includes a whole list of things. But I think the Shinju shown in Boruto, it may be the biggest threat ever. I say that from my previous experience with playing Halo, I guess. The reason I say they're the biggest threat is because I don't know. It's possible that they don't want anything to do with the Otsutsukis. They want to be their own thing. And absorbing all life is practically like a end stage boss right there. I don't know. That's my head canon, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So regarding the like the Shinju, if they do lose, then what's the point of
Yeah.
creatures? Like, will they even get stronger if they lose? Like, how will they get stronger? Like, will they just eat random people instead?
I think it's a matter of numbers. Or obviously they're going to do something that greatly affects the shinobi world. I don't know. Maybe the Shinju actually like destroy all of ninja society. That's a possibility.
You know what I was thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how they said that how Boruto told Code to destroy them since you have the reins, you can control them right now before you no longer can. What if he's saying that to, I guess, foreshadow Kawaki taking the reins from them, right? Maybe that's what he meant by the age of shinobi is over. Because just like in the anime, when they try to use artificial soldiers, it didn't work. Maybe Kawaki's about to do the same thing where he defeats, or however it goes, Kawaki ends up in control, handing, grabbing the reins of the Shinju, and then now that's the new way of the world. No longer having to have shinobis die early, which is what he said. That shinobis are just the ones who die early. Or soon.
Yeah.
So that might be a thing. And then, right, you would have Boruto against the world, quite literally. Again, even if omnipotence seems to be getting
Yep.
not as an immovable object as it is now. You know, because I think for sure that a lot more people are going to learn about what actually is happening. It doesn't seem to me, right, just because we have two people currently that are realizing something is wrong, it doesn't seem to me that it takes that much. Like, it takes a lot clearly, because if not, Sarada could go tell everybody, hey, this isn't what actually happened, and it would work, right? But it doesn't seem to me like it takes a lot. Maybe it's me, though. Again, we have to determine why. Why is it happening? And Sarada's doing that just now, right? She's questioning, it doesn't work for others, but it worked for my dad. Why? And maybe, again, it ties back into the certain requirements for a lot of these concepts in Boruto, right? Because if like what I said, that hope, right, for some reason hope could be the reason that these people are immune,
Yeah.
then that might also be the requirements for an Otsutsuki, because they said Otsutsuki powers contain hope. And what I'm saying is that, like, hope is at the core of everything, which is a good writing, right? It's good writing wise that hope is at the core, perseverance and all the terms that come with the word hope, right?
Yep.
Is at the core of it, which is good. But why? Why put it at the core, right? Hope. Because everything else is telling us there is not a lot to be hopeful for, especially for Boruto. So
I think for like hope, although it might be minuscule, it probably might be something powerful.
yeah,
And as you can see, it's pretty powerful in the Boruto universe.
yeah.
What was the Jogan called again?
What was
Jogan?
the Eye of Hope, the Star of Hope?
The Star of Hope. Oh,
Yeah.
you might be onto something.
That's what I'm
referring
saying,
to
right?
Boruto. Yeah.
So, like, hope, it seems to me that that's everything to do with all these concepts. What is required of a vessel? Hope. What is required to be immune? Hope. What is all of that? Hope. I don't know why. I feel like that's the answer. And if
That's
that's the
a
answer, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
How does that apply to Shibai? How does that hope apply to Shibai? Well, he's an Otsutsuki, so he has hope. He's working. He's over millennia, right? Doing this tiring, what seems to be tiring process, right? Because you have to implant the karma. You have to wait for the tree to grow, all that, right? Eat the fruit, come back, repeat, rinse and repeat, right? Maybe it's because he had hope. And hope isn't really something you can quantify, right? Like, of course you could quantify hope, but can you really? And if that's what, um, and if that you can't, right? If you can't quantify it, then that might be how he ascended. Like, he literally put all his hope in this higher power, and so he went there. He literally went to the higher power. That's what faith is: putting hope in something or someone.
literal power in God of War. Hope. I mean, it kind of. Yeah, I remember that. It was a literal power. Like, it's long I think it was for Kratos. The only way to defeat the Olympian gods was through the power of hope, which was some like weird ethereal force that kind of transcends a lot of
Another
things.
energy source, shinjutsu.
Yeah.
That could be it.
Mhm.
So Shibai, right, might right now be the current embodiment of hope.
Yeah.
And as we know, right, look at the Kratos God of War series, gods of these certain concepts don't have to be the same person forever. They can always change. And so I think it's right now building up to Shibai being the current one, the current embodiment of hope, to later in the end of series probably Boruto becoming that. And if Boruto becomes that, he's gonna have to go and have the same fate that Shibai did, which is to look like you were killed and leave your body behind and transcend everything.
Do you think like the Jogon has any sort of connection to Shibai, or some sort of like correlation?
Yeah, it gotta be because it was in that one panel. They had the like, and people always are, debating about Jogon canon or not, or this is whatever. But it's quite clear that right there, whatever is the things, all those eyes around that god, has to be some type of power, some type of higher thing. And the only thing we know is the Jogon.
Well, it feels like the Jogon is some sort of like even in real life, you either you believe in it or you don't. It's almost like it's done on purpose, where the Jogon is some weird like ultimate hype eye. We're gonna see. I swear we're gonna see like Sarda's Mangekyo before we see the Jogon.
We already did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in action, in action,
okay.
in Two Blue War.
Definitely.
I feel like the Jogon is some end stage final power up.
Yeah. I mean, we know at least one time that it'll show, right? In the current time, in the flash forward. That's the Jogon. For sure.
Yeah.
So I kind of noticed another thing. So in the manga, so when Boruto, when he was possessed by Momoshiki, he opened his eye, and his eye literally had a slit on it, it almost looked like a snake eye. And then you could tell it's the cornea and the rest of the eye. It's damaged, right? It has to be permanent. But when Boruto used the Jogon, it's almost like a completely new eye.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on.
And if we're thinking that that's the literal star of hope, and that's embodying hope and everything to do with hope, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he literally has to believe in it for it to manifest, right? Because think about the first time he did it. Think about in the anime, the first time he actually saw it.
He thought it was the Byakugan.
Did he see it? He saw it because somebody told him that is real. He even said, in this eye, it's real. And then he looked in the mirror and he saw it. So again, it's probably hope. And just like that one DC character that I cannot remember the name of for the life of me, where if you look at it, it's real. The second you no longer can see it, it's not real. It doesn't exist. And it wipes from your own memory, which is crazy for a DC power. But no, so maybe it's the same thing with the Jogon, right? If you believe in it and it's real. That would also be why Toneri even did something to Boruto, right? Or Ishiki, when he froze him right beforehand, he was saying, you might have thought you did something by doing something to that woman's child, which is clearly talking about Hinata. So they're talking about the child of Hinata, which is Boruto at the time. So that Urashiki is talking about, you did something to Boruto, and maybe maybe that something was Toneri literally giving him hope with the Jogon. But again, how could have Toneri done that? He has to have learned from somebody.
It feels like the Jogon is some faith-based eye. I mean, funny enough, like I said before, even the community kind of has to have faith in this eye. that's kind of hilarious.
And Boruto
like
is still having faith, right? He
right.
His destiny. They keep telling him what he's supposed to have happen, and he isn't going for it. He's keeping hope. His willpower is strong, like what Momoshiki said, and whenever omnipotence had happened, his willpower is strong. So clearly, it's either that in a moment of where he loses hope, or in a moment where he absolutely needs hope to continue, he'll get the Jogan.
Yeah.
But again,
Also,
why would that work though, right? If
yeah.
the Jogan is connected to Shibai and um that hope is also with the Jogan, is Shibai helping him? Think about it.
Might be.
Have your faith in me and I reward you. That's most of like God and believer relationships where you have hope in your God and that God rewards you in the later on.
Yeah, regarding
I,
that.
that's cool.
Yep. Regarding that. And I think in this case, like with Boruto and like Shibai and shit, in order to have hope in this case, you have to have faith. So,
Yeah.
like, especially with Toneri and the Jogan, maybe Toneri might appear again to Boruto. And in order for the Jogan to like activate for Boruto, Boruto has to have faith in Toneri that he will get this eye, this pure eye, the Jogan. And
Well, go ahead.
with the hope scenario, if he loses hope or if he loses faith in Toneri, it probably might not activate. Kind of like what you said with the whole.
I don't think it's Toneri though, because even before he contacted Toneri, he had the Jogan, right? So it has to be something else. That was just the first time he actually knew something was up with his eye. He didn't know yet at the time what actually it was, but he still doesn't know. Matter of fact, he still doesn't know what actually is going on with his eye, but he knows something is there. He knows it's real. And what does that sound like? He somebody or Boruto who can actually tangibly see I am not lying. I'm not going crazy. That sounds like omnipotence with the people who are not even breaking out of it, but at least seeing something is wrong, right? They're seeing things that are just inexplicably real.
All
And
right,
they're putting that faith in it.
So we've come to the end of the podcast. I want to thank everyone for joining and staying this long. If you have listened this far, really appreciate it. Share with your friends. Drop a comment if you want. And yeah, follow us on Twitter. Or X. We just opened up a new Twitter account. And join the Discord if you want to be part of future episodes. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.